Okay, hi everybody. We're going to erase what's on the board right now, and we're going to take you through a theory tutorial on tonic and dominant. I think everyone understands the idea of tonic already, so let's just keep it simple and say that we're in the key of C. And we know that we would often see a little chord symbol above the treble step that says C when the chord is a C chord. And we also know at this point that this chord can have a name. If we're in the key of C, let's put like C, denoting that we're actually in the key of C, so that would be our tonic triad. So how do we build a dominant? And where does this dominant triad come from? We've been playing B, F, G, and it's a little bit hard to figure out how is that dominant. So I'm going to show you where it comes from. I'm going to go to the 5th degree of the scale, which hopefully you can tell me the 5th degree of the C scale is C, D, E, F, G, a G. All right, so I'm going to start on a G, and I'm going to build a triad on G. So that G would be my dominant triad, right? Now, I also want this to have a little more color to it. So instead of just the basic triad built on a G, let's call that a G right there, I'm going to also stack another third on top. So let's listen to what that sounds. Here's the G chord, and here's the G with the extra. Notice that really changes the quality of the chord. So because the distance from the root of the chord to there is 7 steps, right? It's a 7. We're going to call that a chord a G7, all right? So G7, and it's a lot of notes. It's 4 notes. So when we play our G7, what we're doing is playing an inversion of this chord. So you already know about chord triad inversions. So when I go from here to there, if I did it just the way it's written there, or even in the bass, it sounds kind of weird, like an accordion or something that it's such a big leap, it doesn't sound very pianistic. So we like to use what we call common tone voicing. So when we're going from this chord to that chord, if there's any tones that are common, we leave them in the same finger, or what we call voicing. So what tones are common? You can see right away that G is the same, all right? So let's just keep the G. And we have a B, a D, and an F. Is there a B, a D, or an F anywhere here? No. So we only have one common tone. So that means we could keep the B where it is, but notice that this is a C, and right below the C would be a B. So I'm going to go ahead and draw the ledger line for the C and draw the B right below it. And that way, even though it's not the same tone, it's much closer than it would be going up all the way there. So now I can get rid of that note. Okay? Now, we cannot call this a G7 if we don't have the 7th. So the next note I'm going to be looking at is that 7th, which is an F. So where is the closest place from a C, E, G? Well, we know there's an F right here, right? So I'm going to go ahead and put my F, instead of putting it all the way up there, far, far away, I'm putting it there, B, F, G. Now, so now I can erase, this one is taken care of, and this one is taken care of. That only leaves the D. And we could put the D, I'll draw it a little circle. We could put the D right there. However, it's a little bit overkill, and I'm going to just say an important thing, and that is that the 5th degree of any chord, like this was G, B, D, F, G, B, D, D being the 5th degree of that chord, is the weakest member. It's very neutral. It's not that it's a bad note, it's a perfectly good note, but it's the most neutral note, and we can do away with it quite easily without changing the quality of the chord. If we don't have the root, we don't know what the chord is. If we don't have the 3rd, we don't know if it's major or minor. If we don't have the 7th, then it's no longer a 7th chord. But if we don't have the 5th, there's no harm done. So we're going to get rid of that just to make our lives a little bit easier. And let's just move this over here to show you B, F, and G. And notice it's very smooth voice leading. And we've been playing those for a week or so now, and I've just been teaching them to you by rote, but that's where it comes from this full G7 chord, leaving out the fifth and shuffling things down so they're closer to where we're coming from. Now, do you need to know all that? If that just went right over your head, don't worry about it. You don't really need to know all that. But I always like to explain it so that students that are interested in theory and wonder where things are coming from, that's where it's coming from. So while we're there, let's just take a look at page 61 and take the minor 2-chord waltz. This one is blocked, so instead of C major, you're going to go C minor. And I have some really good news for you. When you're in a minor key and you're going to the 5 chord, it's the exact same 5 chord. So the minor keys borrow the same B, F, G in C minor is a G7. So you already know the 5 chord in C minor. So we're going to play the melody in the minor. And if you have a book that is 11th edition or older, there is a mistake in this, and I'd like you to grab your pencil right now and just make sure you put a little M next to the chord designations that are over. So it's C minor, so it should have a little M there. Anytime you have C in this piece, could you make it C minor? And that's an error that will be corrected in the 12th edition. So let's try it, everyone. 1, 2, 3. C minor, G7, so a very good thing to do at this point would be to take C minor and play G7 without looking. Close your eyes or look away from the keyboard, and then try C major. And go back and forth that way so that you can start to build the tonic and dominant in major and minor modes easily without looking. And we're going to be doing it for all the keys. And it seems a little daunting right now, but we'll be reviewing them so much and repeating them and transposing pieces to all the keys that they will definitely sink into your fingers. Once you know it, you won't ever forget it. So enjoy working in the minor mode now.